I didn't realize how neatly my family had filed me away until my mother said it at dinner, like she was reading the weather. "Tessa's family comes first," she told the table, voice even. "You're last." Dad nodded, as if we'd finally agreed on the right answer. My sister lifted her glass and smiled into the rim. I didn't cry, I didn't argue. I heard myself say, "Good to know," and felt something inside me click, cleanly, like a latch. I'm Lauren. All my life they'd taught me without lessons. In our Denver house, attention moved the way heat does, toward the biggest body in the room. Conversations curved around Tessa's schedule. Crisis sprinted to her doorstep. Praise arrived with balloons. For me, there were quiet pats. "You're so strong, you'll be fine." Words that sounded like love and worked like a leash. I noticed it in the small math. Her custom cakes, my grocery cupcakes, her plane tickets, my better to save for school, her graduation framed, mine photographed from behind because I was holding coats. When I left for community college, there was no airport, just a driveway hug and a reminder to call when I got there. I paid my own way, and every success became proof that I didn't need anything. So after that dinner, when my phone lit up with familiar asks, "Watch the kids, cover the bounced payment," I didn't answer immediately. I let the screen go dark. I finished my coffee. I went to work. The world didn't collapse, it just got quiet. 3 days later, Mom called, with that practiced calm. "We need to talk," she said. "Can you come home this weekend?" On Saturday, I drove east until the mountains fell behind me and the sky turned wide and brittle. Denver looked the same. Trim lawns, neutral paint. Yet my parents' porch light felt like an interrogation lamp. Inside, the house carried a closed-up heaviness. The dining table was buried under envelopes, late notices, and printouts with bold headers that tightened my throat. Tessa sat rigid on the couch, arms crossed, staring at her shoes. Her husband, Evan, hovered in the doorway. Dad avoided my gaze. Mom spoke too fast. A business gamble, payments delayed, temporary, repeated like a spell. I listened the way I always had, hands folded, face calm, until the room did what it was trained to do and tilted toward me. Dad cleared his throat. "You're stable," he said. "No kids, you can handle this." The old reflex rose. Fix it, soften it, pay it, then slid away. "What's the plan if I don't?" I asked. Silence snapped tight. Mom's mouth opened, closed. Tessa's eyes flashed with panic, then a hard kind of hope, like I'd posed a riddle instead of a boundary. Dad finally said, "We just need time." "Me too," I said, and meant it. That night in my childhood bedroom, I watched the ceiling fan carve slow circles through the dark. By morning, I'd made 2 appointments. My therapist, then a legal advisor who talked about loans and paper trails. If I stepped in, it would be with terms, not as the family's invisible foundation. The next weekend, I came back with a folder in my bag. They were waiting at the table. I set my bag down, slid the folder onto the wood, and said, "Let's talk." They talked first, like my folder was a test. Dad recited numbers, Mom smoothed them with excuses. Tessa cried in spurts. When the air finally emptied, I slid the folder to Dad. "This is what I'll do," I said. "Help, but structured." He scanned the first line and frowned. "A loan." "Yes." I tapped the terms, sell the second car, cancel the private school deposit, no new credit lines, weekly receipts, and, underlined twice, family therapy within 30 days. "My name stays off everything," I added. "My credit stays mine." Tessa's voice sharpened. "So you don't trust us?" "I trust what you've shown me," I said. "You made me the safety net and called it strength." Mom reached for my hand, then stopped. "We never meant to—" "You did," I said, steady. "You said I'm last, so don't ask me to be first, only when it costs you." Dad pushed the folder back a few inches. "This is cold." "No," I answered. Cold was praising me for being easy, then expecting me to pay for everyone's hard. For a long minute, nobody spoke. Evan sat beside Tessa and laced his fingers with hers. Her shoulders loosened. "I'm not walking away," I said. "I'm changing the rules." I left the papers and drove once around the block until my breath settled. The next day, I returned. The pages lay signed, ink shaky but real. No speeches, just tired nods and a different silence, one that didn't demand rescue. Therapy started the next week, awkward, real, and I kept breathing. On the drive back to Seattle, my phone buzzed once. Mom texted, "How was the road?" And for the first time, that question felt like a beginning.